I'm Matt Bishar and I'm at the La Quinta Resort and Club in Palm Springs for REITwise 2017, NAREIT's Law, Accounting, and Finance Conference. Joining me today is Ross Prindle, Managing Director and Practice Leader for the Real Estate Advisory Group with Duff Phelps. Ross, thanks so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Now here at REITwise, you participated in a panel that was diving into implementing the new Leases standard. What do you think the FASB's objective was in issuing this new Leases standard?
Well, I think their main objective was to get all of the leases onto the balance sheet so that people, investors can actually see what that liability is for companies. The best example I can give you of one that's kind of intuitive is an airline, right? United Airlines, for example. What do you think when you think of United Airlines? You think they have planes, right? Up to this point, on their balance sheet, they had no airplanes because they lease them all. So that makes no sense, right? So I think one of the, that's the most harshest example. Certainly it affects a lot of, companies to do because they're going to have to put all these leases on the balance sheet, but that was their main objective. They want the investors to be able to see what the actual liabilities that a company has.
Now, I understand that the new Leases standard will not change lessor accounting. What are some of the nuances that may be overlooked, though?
Lessors are going to have to be mindful of what their lessees would like to do to manage their own balance sheets that would affect the lessor's balance sheet. For example, some of the lessors, or lessees rather, would they want to shorten their lease term maybe a little bit, just so they lessen the impact of the standard, while lessors are constantly wanting to lengthen lease terms. So there's a little bit of pull and tug that's going to happen there, and that's something that I think will evolve more as the standard gets into place in 2019.
And lastly, what are some of the implementation questions that companies are wrestling with?
First thing they have to do is they have to actually gather all the data that they have on their leases. A lot of them, they're in different places, right? You have different business units that have different sort of metrics for leasing. They got to bring them all into one place, put them into a sort of a file that they can, run the cash flows for and do the present value discounting to come up with the value of that liability. And the biggest thing that they're having to deal with now is making sure that they have all the leases, and this isn't just real estate leases. It's it's equipment leases and other sort of contracts that may qualify as leases also in the standard. So that's a big thing. There's no software yet that's been developed that will allow them to. There's no one-stop shop software off the shelf that you go ahead and enter all your leases in and it spits out an answer. So they're having to manage that, and they also have to kind of think about what their incremental cost of borrowing is and match up that rate with the length of term of the different leases as well, which is fairly simplistic, but at the same time, it's more of a data gathering exercise and a compilation into a format.
Ross, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
For more from REITwise 2017, be sure to visit NAREITsREIT.com.